Hi guys. We had a little video the other day about how to care for old paint, and I showed you the 3M polish, which I'm just ecstatic about. I bought it some years back to try and detail and bring back a 77 lowrider back in '09, I think it was. And I've just had it on the shelf since and used it, and I figured, well, let's see what this stuff really does on this stuff. I was like, oh my God, I got to show everybody. So one of our guys, Adrian, says, you got to clay bar it. Okay, well, the clay bar I was familiar with was a real bad idea. He says, no, you got to try it. It's the greatest, it's the latest. So I tried it, and we're going to show you. I just detailed out a Heritage Springer. Flip over to that one, right there. Look at that. And I tried the clay bar on it, and the problem with the clay bar is a couple things. Motorcycles have a lot of cracks and crevices, and a clay bar don't get it. A cloth does. And I'm really thankful that Adrian to bring up the clay bar thing, because if I wasn't playing around with the clay bar and the paint, I wouldn't accidentally rub the chrome and go, whoa, that looks pretty good. So I tried the clay bar and the chrome, went over everything, and then, being I'm experimenting, and I used the Heritage to experiment with, I tried my 3M polish, and it made the clay bar look bad. Really bad. Really bad. So I'm onto something here. So some of the chrome was really old and nasty. I still have a hard time getting it back. So I tried the rubbing 3M compound. Oh my God. Oh my freaking God. Purple Slice was heaven sent. And it made Purple Slice look an old has-been with the Purple Slice. 3M rubbing compound. The new way to detail your chrome. I had no clue. I had no clue. I'm like, oh my freaking God, this bike was, I couldn't get nothing back. We went over it with vinegar, we went over it with rain, we went over it with every compound we had except for this. So thank God for Adrian talking about clay bars, and I tried it. Because I've never figured out, who would have thought of using paint rubbing compound on chrome? Huh, I had no idea. So we're going to show you some things. Harley Davidsons, when they were brand new, this paint job has never been rubbed out. It's never been rubbed out since it was found. It was found with grease all over the whole bike. And all they do is take the grease off. It's never been rubbed out. So imagine how shiny it was when it was new. They were as shiny in their day as brand new Harley Davidsons are today. But due to the chemical processes of the time of lacquer finishes and the EPA and so forth, and the oxidization, as I'm calling, that's the wrong word, they used to send a solvent base, as I understand it, to molecularly bind the lacquer to the base metals and base primer and so forth. And these solvents would evaporate into the air, which are very, very dangerous and harmful to the atmosphere. And so they still use lacquers, you can still buy them, but it's not a commercially viable thing. So I did do some research, and yes, they're making lacquers just for the restoration guys. So any of you guys are restoring your old bike and you want it to be real, guess what? You got to put lacquer paint on your bike, because you can get it. I found out. It's right online. You can look it up. Which I didn't know, because I just had a discussion with a buddy of mine, Craig Taylor, about that. He said, you can't get lacquer anymore. So I found it online. Yes, you can. I emailed him the link. So if you want to be correct on your old bike, you've got to use lacquer. And there's a page I'll show you at the end of this that I found up, and guys discussing exactly the different lacquers and exactly how this was done and exactly how that was done. So we'll go to the computer a little bit and look it all up. But what brought all this up is one of the guys a while back says, how do I care for old paint? Show us, what do you do on your 57 and how does this work? So this is the problem. Lacquer paint is notorious to keep up. It's very difficult. It's much harder than modern paints. And what happens is this. This is rubbed out lacquer paint from 1938. See how shiny this is? This was hidden under the tank. This is pre-rub. This is rubbed out. That's what it's supposed to look like when you care for your old motorcycle. Because if you don't care for it, this is what happens. It deteriorates and finally goes away. This is all that's left, and this is primer. No paint left. No paint left. So you either care for it, or in another 30 or 40 years on this bike here, there won't be any paint. There won't be any paint at all. You can kiss off all your original paint stuff. If there's no more original paint stuff, we won't know where it came from. We won't have an idea because it'll all be gone because nobody bothered to preserve it because they wanted it rusty looking. To me, that's a mistake. So we're going to go over here. We're going to do some experimenting. They're playing on kitty. Hey, where's that key? Where is that key?
You're gonna run me over.
Follow me over here.
I am. He's looking for kitty poo.
Yeah, I'm looking for kitty poo. Okay, come on over here. I gotta show what we want to look at. Now what I did here is I've discovered that this 3M polish, premium liquid wax they call it. What this stuff is like a clay bar on steroids. They call it a liquid wax. They call it whatever they want. This is what it does, is it lifts off all the dirt without re-embedding it into whatever's there. But the problem we have here is we've got massively embedded dirt, which if you guys watched the videos, you saw me soak this for a month in the solvent that we have, modern day mineral spirits. It's not real mineral spirits, whatever you want to call it. And you got to be careful because eventually you'll start lifting the paint. So I couldn't do it any longer. And if I don't get rid of this dirt, it'll actually eat into the paint and destroy it. Might look like a crusty old whatever, but that's a bad idea because you're going to lose all your paint. You're going to lose all your paint. It'll go away. So how do we get back what's left and try to preserve it? Because the wax itself, if you wax it, if you go periodically and go over and wax it, it's only going to lift oxidization. Well, lacquer will oxidize pretty fast. But if you do it all the time, and you go over your bike, you don't allow it to oxidize. You follow me? It hasn't allowed it to oxidize, so it's not lifting anything because it hasn't oxidized, and you're putting on this new layer of protection. And that's what this stuff will do, is it'll lift off the dirt and it'll protect it. This is modern chemicals. So we have here clay bar, and this is a Mother's Showtime here, which is a cleanser. And we went and clay barred this area here. And this is as good as it got. This here is after the fact, after I rubbed it, I cleaned it with the liquid wax, I went and rubbed it, and then I cleaned it with the liquid wax again. Now, obviously this isn't brand new, but look at the difference, and it's nice and shiny, and it's got a liquid wax covering. So let's do a little experiment here. We saved a little area here, and we're going to go over there. So we're going to go with the clay bar here. And now, since this is supposedly clean, with the clay bar, now we're going to go back after the clay bar with our liquid wax. Here, we're going to leave our 3M premium liquid wax out. Then we're going to go over the same area we just clay barred and see what the liquid wax does. So that's that. There's our rubbing right there. So we got a lot more dirt off. You follow? This is what I was finding. This still left stuff that was very difficult to get off, and the liquid wax went back and just cleaned it. Just like, wow, whoa, my God. Now, this is also what I found. When I went back over with the rubbing compound, with stuff that was even harder, I got the dirt off. I got the corrosion off. I got it all off. Like, brand new looking. Oh my God, whoa. I've been missing out all this time. I had no idea. So, now we're gonna come back in with some 3M rubbing compound. Okay, this is the Perfect It 2 rubbing compound. They have heavier duty ones. We're not using a super heavy duty rubbing compound. We're using the light rubbing compound. And we're going to come back in here. This is the bottom of the 38 knucklehead. This is the bottom original paint primary cover. This is on the bottom. So anything I do is actually going to be hidden because you're not going to see it until you get it on your hands and knees. So you have to experiment on something that's kind of semi-safe. See, we got dirt off and we got paint. Well, you're going to lift off the oxidization. That's just the reality of it. Okay. Now remember, this has been oily and nasty and dirty and greasy for decades, right? And it's still not perfect. This is what happens when I continue rubbing. This is what I got back. So I got to come back in here with some more. And this stuff here is all about taking your time, elbow grease, just having the right magic mix of chemicals, which is all about experiment. If you do the wrong chemicals, you end up with bare metal. That's the fucking problem. I have destroyed original paint trying to figure this shit out. Plenty of times. Oh boy, have I. This has not been an easy or cheap process. This is the culmination of what I've learned in 32 years trying to fuck around with this shit. Okay, getting a little bit better results here. We're still not clear, still not totally clean. What I'm looking for is just a thin stripe to show you guys, because it's going to take me a few days of rubbing to really clean this primary cover. But when I get it clean, I'll do another video and show you my results. So we're almost there. We're almost there. Look at that. We're almost there. Obviously the clay bar did not do its job. Clay bar did not happen.
Well, if that's all you're using, then it will do the job if you
Well,
don't know
the clay
any
bar,
other.
no. The clay bar is supposed to get rid of all the contaminants on the surface of paint.
Okay.
And it probably does just fine on modern paints. We're dealing with embedded grunge that's 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. And how do you do it? How do you preserve your paint without ruining your paint? And that there is the quandary. How the hell you do that without ruining your paint? And if there's a better method, I'd sure like to know. This is the best I personally have seen. I did look up a expert's idea of how to bring it back, and he listed a bunch of other chemicals I don't have that he uses. But it sounded awfully similar to the processing, just different manufacturers. And I'm really happy with the results I've gotten with the 3M. And as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So for right now, A, this is the chemicals I got, and B, I really like the results. Now, clay bar obviously is not a polish. My point is, it does not work very well on this stuff as a cleaner. And there we have our result right here. It's not rubbed across, you follow? This is our result right there. That's where I've been rubbing. And it's nice and clean, and it's nice and shiny. Okay, here's dirty again, right here. This is pre-clay bar. So, I showed you the clay bar result. You can go back to the video. Now I'm going to show you the liquid wax result, which is a cleaner, not just a wax. So first, let me reiterate, you want to do the wax, like what you saw in the other video. And clean it, and wax it. If you don't like the result of the wax, then you go back with your rubbing compound, clean more of it, See how easy that was?
Yeah.
Brought it back. Okay, if you don't like that, now you can go back with your rubbing compound and bring it back, and it'll come out like that, which is what it looked like. Nice and shiny. Instead of old and crusty and nasty. Now, for those of you guys who want old and crusty and nasty, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you like, that's what you like. It's your bike. You can do whatever you want with it. These are my bikes, and I can do whatever I want with them. But in my opinion, as I just said, if you don't preserve what's left, time will take care of it for you. And you won't have to worry about a crusty original paint bike anymore because you won't have one. It'll be gone. Now, what we have over here, this is NOS original paint that somebody scuffed up. This is our 38 left tank to make it blend in with the bike. Now, I still got to pull our petcock off. We'll make another video of that here real soon. I'm almost done with the bug. And so I'm going to very lightly, on the very top of the tank, I'm going to show you how sure I am of this product. Watch the magic. This is right on top of the tank. It's right on top of the tank. Scary. Oh my God, it's on top of the tank. And that's what is what happens. You got to try it here or there, and then see if it fucks up or not, and how you like it or not. So now we're going to try it on something that is, oh my God, I really fucked up if I fuck it up. So we're going to try our rubbing compound. This is our light compound. And I have a heavier one if we need it. And we're going to try a little splotch here. And what I'm trying to do is get rid of all the little scratches and abrasions that they put into this. And I still have them. So, give me a second, and I shall get our heavier rubbing compound. So now we got to break out the big guns. I'm just doing a little patch because the bike's not ready to go back together. We're just showing you what I have learned. And you can do it or not. So this here's all 3M stuff. This is the Super Duty 3M rubbing compound. And this is 3M Imperial Hand Glaze. You know, my painter, Rick Grindle, one of the best in the business, his health can't let him do this stuff anymore, is I'm fairly certain who told me to go buy this stuff. Who else would I ask? But we are talking 09, and while I have a good memory, it is not infallible. As neither is any other humans except a very small percentage of us who never forget anything. Ever. And being I'm not one of those, I am a fallible human, like the rest of you mortals. So, we're going to go out with our heavy-duty rubbing compound. And we're going to try a splotch on here. Right on the top. Right where it's kind of fucked up if I fuck this up. Like, oh my God. That's what we got. Wipe it off. Okay. Now I'm going to come back. We're just doing little splotches here. Did I use the heavy duty or did I use the... I think I lost it there. I think I used the wrong one. Let's try this again. All right, we're trying our heavy duty rubbing.
That's what you tried.
That's what I was supposed to try. losing it here. So let's make sure I use the right stuff. Yep, see I used the wrong stuff. That's why it didn't come out.
Oh, okay.
Now we can hear it rub.
Yeah.
Lost it there. Too many bottles. Watch those fumes. There we go. Now we're doing it right. As you can see, I don't edit these fucking things. Okay, now we're going to come with our rubbing compound again. Our light rubbing compound. And go over that. That's the bottom of our cloth. Oops. Oh. And now we're going to take some glaze and go over that.
Oh, that's strong.
That's pretty strong. Like I said, watch them fumes. Okay, now we're going to wipe our glaze off here. And now we're going to take another clean towel. And now we're going to put our liquid wax on. Remember, I didn't do the whole tank. We're just doing a little slice of it, just to give you guys an idea. Let me grab the camera. I'm a little taller than you. Right there. Now, I'm not claiming it's perfect. That's not my point. What I'm claiming is, you can see all the scratches here when they buffed it, trying to blend it in, and now it's muchly improved. And there's a nice coating of wax, okay, which if I keep it waxed, instead of letting it oxidize, that paint will last me, any grandchildren I may not know about, and their grandchildren, and probably several times after that. And stay alive, looking pretty. So, you gotta flip it back that way.
Oh.
Okay. So, anyhow, that is, you see here, no dirt, no oxidization really, because we cleaned it, we buffed it, and we made it sparkle. And that here, even though this is old and nasty and dirty, can be brought back and within limits sparkle like it should. Because if I don't, all the paint's going to go away. It'll all go bye-bye. Just like the frame that nobody ever cared for, and now it's just black primer. So, in my opinion, this is the best I've found. Is there better out there? I don't know, or I'd be using it. It would be difficult to find better. That's what I thought when I found Purple Slice. I went, oh my fucking God, oh my God. And then, just today, I put this rubbing compound here over the chrome. Whoa, no more Purple Slice for me. Whoops, I've been doing it all wrong. So, technology improves, techniques improve. This is the best I've found so far on how to care for your old paint and why, in my opinion. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching, and before we go, I want to take you over and read you what I found on lacquer. So let's go over there, and we'll read it to you, and I'll sign off. So it's over on the computer, over here.
Maybe that's just the gypsy camp here.
Now, this here, according to Merck 63 in Pikesville, Maryland, he says, and this sounds correct to me, what he's saying, single stage paint is non-clear coated, that's lacquer. But you can get single stage paint in lacquer, well you could, or enamels. Yes you could, and we have it in Harley literature that they did it back in the day. Be they synthetic enamel, acrylic enamel, or urethane enamel. I'm fairly sure they used acrylics, but I could be totally off base. I'm not a painter. You could also get clear coat paint in lacquers back in the day. Candy and pearlescent custom paints were usually lacquers, with the lacquer clear as the carrier for the pearls and then the last stage of paint. Dual stage or two-stage paint is simply a base coat with a clear coat and can be solid or metallic. Three-stage paint is reserved for candies and pearls, where there is a base color layer, a translucent color layer or pearlescent layer, and then a final clear layer. Clear paint is simply paint with no pigment. Be it a lacquer clear in the old days or an enamel clear now, and usually in high solids urethane. Clear coats came about to the desire for depth in the color, primarily metallic colors, and for UV protection in said colors. Non-clear coated metallic colors can get dull, and if you try to polish them up to get shine back, you'll rub the pigment off the metallic particles, which will usually make the paint even duller. Clear coat gives depth and protection to these metallic particles, along with UV protection to keep the color from fading as fast. Lacquers went away to the high VOC content and rather dangerous chemicals involved. Lacquers cure by evaporation of the solvent carriers, which releases dangerous toxins like toluene into the air. Non-catalyzed enamels also dry by solvent evaporation, so the toxins are less, but the trend went to catalyzed urethanes, which cure by cross-linking the polymers in the paint, giving a much more durable finish as well as not releasing solvents into the atmosphere. Modern automotive paints, at least in factories, are also primarily waterborne rather than solvent-borne, with even lower VOC content when sprayed. Unfortunately, waterborne paints suffer from adhesion problems as there are no solvents to bind them properly to the substrates, generally electrostatically applied epoxy primer. This causes most of the paint elimination problems you see on so many newer cars. Again, I'm not a painter, but I know enough about chemicals and what my buddy Rick Grindle told me over the years to say, this guy knows his shit. He's right on. So there you have the history of the who, what, and wow, and the best of my knowledge as of today on how to preserve your old paint machines. I hope you've enjoyed this. See you on the next one.